Now, if you talk to enough mortgage professionals or look a little bit on the internet, not the same thing, but you will oftentimes find the same general advice when it comes to refinancing. Your interest rate needs to drop by a certain percent for refinancing to be worth it. Now, I am not a big fan of general financial advice other than pay your credit card debt down and save money. But this one is one I take particular issue with for two reasons. One, it leaves all nuance out of anyone's particular situation. And not all mortgages are the same when it comes to refinancing, specifically when it comes to loan amount size. Large loan amounts are easier for it to make sense to refinance than small ones. The reason for that is, if you have a $400,000 loan and your rate is dropping by 0.5%, that saves significantly more money on a monthly basis than the same interest rate drop on a $100,000 loan. Okay, now you could say it's all relative, but it's not. Refinancing is a cost benefit analysis, right? And if the benefit is higher, well, on a bigger loan, the cost must be higher. They're not pound for pound. Most closing costs on a refinance are flat fees. An appraisal costs the same on a $400,000 loan and a $100,000 loan. Same with the settlement fee. So if the costs are similar, but the benefit is greater on one than the other, that throws the calculation off completely, okay? So you could have a $100,000 loan and need a 1.5% interest rate drop when you only need a 0.75% interest rate drop on a $400,000 loan, okay? So that makes it nonsense. But the part I want to really talk about more today is the to be worth it part. Your rate needs to drop by a certain percent to be worth it. That statement, the underlying assumption underneath it is that refinancing is very expensive. There's a lot of closing costs, and there do not have to be. This is something that a lot of traditional banks and lenders have not done historically, but it's absolutely possible. And if you can take the closing costs and reduce them to nothing or drop them drastically, then you do not need as large of an interest rate drop for refinancing to make sense. And that's what I'm going to show you. So this is a current client, Beyonce. You might have heard of her. K-Mortgage reputation is spreading like that. Here's her current mortgage. 6.875% is the interest rate. $34.89 is her total monthly payment. I categorize these into low rate, low cost, just to make things simple. Low rate, 5.99. Ooh, getting down to the fives. We like it. Monthly payment, going down by $267 a month. This is good stuff, right? Saving $3,700 in interest in the first year. Let's go. That's all good stuff, but here's the bad stuff. The closing costs of $3,100, right? And if you ask me, well, does this refinance make sense? It probably does. I mean, let's do a little math, right? So how long is it going to take to recoup the initial closing costs? Almost a year. And that's not bad, but what if interest rates keep going down and we want to refinance again in 6 months? The to be worth it part, but also are we timing it right? Are we timing the market right? That's a legitimate concern that people have, but there's a solution to it. And before I jump to it, this is not a cost of the transaction. I'll explain this at the end. I want to get to the point, and you can turn it off or just trust me on this. So $3,100 in closing costs. We do 6.125%, which is higher, right? The monthly payment goes up by $35 a month, right? But look what happens to the closing costs, $119. Now here's what's happening, okay? By choosing a higher interest rate and closing costs are related to each other, but by purposely choosing a higher interest rate, it creates what's called a lender credit that nearly wipes out the entirety of the closing costs, okay? And to pull back the curtain a little bit, there's a belief out there that lenders want to sell you higher interest rates because they make more money. It's true. But certain institutions, such as McKay Mortgage, we make the same amount on every transaction that we do. We're required to, and we're also decent people. So what happens is the additional money that this interest rate pays gets passed along to the borrower in a form of credit towards the closing costs, okay? Now, what does this mean practically to you? It means you can drop your interest rate from 6.875 to 6.125, drop your payment by $232, $3,100 in interest savings in the first year, $16,000 in the first 5 years, and pay nothing for it. This would be as if your current mortgage servicer called you and said, hey, great news. We're going to drop your rate to 6.125, but we have this little processing fee of $119. Would anyone say that's not worth it? No, of course not. Now, refinancing requires a little more paperwork and things like that, but this isn't a no-brainer, right? Now it's a foreign concept to people, so this is harder to get people to do than you might think. And I'm putting this out there to kind of try to change the narrative with refinances. But like this is a home run transaction, and one of two things can happen, right? You do this refinance and interest rates stay flat or go up, and you're very glad that you struck while the iron was hot. Or if they go down, you refinance again, and you're very glad that you did. And you're glad you did the first one, right? Say you refinance again in a year, you're like, awesome. Like, let's do it again. Also awesome that we did the first one because I saved $3,000, and that's a great thing. You're able to hedge yourself and put yourself in a strategically superior position and take out any guesswork that comes along with it, okay? If you have concerns about starting your mortgage over again, I don't want this video to be too long. I can show you how to solve that, okay? You can actually use this refinance to accelerate the rate that you pay your mortgage off. Even with a new 30-year note, you can pay it off early. So that is the main thing. I did want to explain this. Escrows and prepaid interest is not a cost of the transaction. So your current mortgage, every month you pay towards your escrow account. And what happens is there's this pot of money sitting within your mortgage that the lender manages for you. And the amount in that account floats up and down depending where you are in the tax cycle, okay? When you refinance, oftentimes you can't move that money from your old loan to your new loan, okay? So what happens is a new escrow account is collected at closing, and then you close on the refinance, the old loan gets paid off, it takes a month or two to process, but you get a refund of your escrow account. They send you a check in the mail. That washes a lot of this out. The rest is covered by the fact that you also collect 30 days of interest when you close on a refinance. Because you collect 30 days of interest, it means you do not make a mortgage payment the month following closing. Okay, so if you close in November, you don't make a December mortgage payment because it's made at closing. First full payment is in January. You might have heard say, oh, refinance and skip a payment. Don't like that language. Nobody skips anything. Nothing's free. That's how it actually works. It's not that hard to explain. So between the absence of that payment, out-of-pocket payment, and the escrow refund, this $5,500 comes back to you entirely, okay? If you don't want to bring anything to closing, you can roll it into the new loan amount. And this one, you don't want to bring anything to closing, same thing. You don't want to bring anything to closing, don't like the idea of bumping your loan amount up, no problem. Bring nothing to closing. When you get your escrow refund, when you don't make that payment, pay the balance rate back down, and you're good to go. There you go. Refinances redefined. Ba-boom.